So my kids asked me to go to a sleepover, and here's why I said no. Now, 621,000 of y'all had so many opinions about why I said I don't do sleepovers. Some of y'all agreed, but some of y'all was big mad. But nobody really heard my actual reasoning of why I said no. So this episode is to like go through that. If you don't know me, I'm V, and I am a creator and founder of Raising Them Kids. It is a series where I teach about the emotional and relational side of parenting. And I am a single mom of 5. First, I did feel a little bit guilty because I'm like, well, I went to sleepovers when I was young. A lot of parents do it. Am I being too overprotective? Am I doing too much? Am I expecting them to be these kids that never get to experience things like their peers? Like, what am I doing and why am I doing it? That is the big question. Me saying no was not because I don't trust my kids or maybe if I don't trust the adult that they're with. Like, it was nothing like that. It was more so of like a safety concern. Number one, my biggest concern about having them sleep over somewhere that's not their house is, what if that house catches on fire? Do my kids know the escape route to that house? Like, do they know how to get out of there? Do they know like where the exits are? Like, all that stuff is concerning for me. And when my kids are going to these people's house, if they're younger, how do I know that the people that I left my kids with are going to do everything in their power to save my kid if it comes to saving my kid or theirs? I know that is crazy. That is a crazy way to think. And I always, I pray over my kids. I make sure that they're covered and protected and all those things. But things happen. And I probably am a little bit of an overthinker. But for me, I just always want them to be safe. Let's just say that. And let's just dive back to when I was in middle school, high school, going to sleepovers. There was one sleepover I went to, I could say, my whole life where this girl's parents were so strict. I knew nothing was going down. You wasn't even calling a guy to come to the house. Like, nothing was going down. Her parents were so strict. I was scared. I was scared of her daddy. It was just something about that man. I was like, oh no. And her mama already looked like she don't play. So I was not going over there with the shenanigans. And I think I only stayed at her house once. But my other friend, she had older parents and she had older siblings, and she lived in a place where everybody wanted to be because it was just like a popular area. A lot of people, a lot of guys. She had a lot of cousins and uncles and like guy cousins, and they were nice looking. So there was a spot. So you know how in small towns there are places where people just like to drive through just so they could be seen? Where she lived was one of those areas. Now, she had a cousin. She had 2 cousins that I was sweet on. I liked them. And one of them I was kind of like dating at the time. I don't know. This is like junior high. I don't know if you call it dating, but we were talking. And her parents would put us to bed. We have dinner. We go to bed. And as soon as her people would sleep or she thought they weren't paying attention to us, we was out that window. And I feel a little bit ashamed saying that now, but those were the funniest experiences I had. It was the time we went out the window, and it's where I had my first kiss with her cousin. But another time we went out the window, I got chased by a dog. And that's probably today why I fear dogs so much. Anyway, that's knowing what I used to experience at sleepovers is another reason why I put a halt to it, because I'm like, definitely not. And I remember I did let my daughter have a sleepover for her birthday one time. And I remember one of the parents just dropping their kid off. The lady didn't come in and say anything to me. She didn't come meet me. I would see her in passing at school because I was very active in my kids' school, or I am very active in my kids' school. But she didn't know me from a can of beans. And she literally just dropped her kid off. Didn't come inside to see what was going on inside the house. Nothing. Not that anything was going on, but I'm just like, dang, like, you got that much trust in people that you just gonna leave your baby? I couldn't get over that. And I only just started thinking about it once I put out that video when I was saying we don't do sleepovers. But the more and more I thought about it, I was like, dang, people really do that. They really just leave their kids with anybody. And I am not the one. No. So another thing is sleepovers. They do you have to have them? I know somebody said in my comments that, oh, your kids are missing out on like this experience of bonding, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, they can bond. And then when it's time to go to bed, they can come and go to sleep at home in their own bed. I'm going to tell this story. Another reason why I don't do sleepovers is because you just never know what you're going to be feeling, thinking, dreaming while you're at somebody else's house. I remember being at a sleepover and I wet the bed at somebody's house. That was so embarrassing for me. I was a bedwetter. You don't got to tell everybody. So I never want my kids to experience something like that either. And I know that I'm a little bit overprotective, but I'm not keeping them from experiences because we still have late overs and stuff like that. But going to sleep at somebody's house and waking up at somebody's house and not seeing my kid, I don't like it. Now, whatever parents do is their business. I'm just coming to tell my perspective of why I don't do it. And it's not that I don't trust my kids. I do trust my kids. But sometimes I don't trust the people around them. I don't always trust adults to make the right decisions. Because sometimes some adults are just kids in grown-up bodies. Like they still got the mindset of a child. But anyway, I realized that I'll just rather have them be upset with me temporarily than risk their well-being or them getting harmed. I also thought about things that happened in my family growing up where I'm trying to say this can be a little bit triggering, so just turn it off if you feel like it's getting too deep for you. But there are people in my family who are abused and they still have to see their victim. No, the victim still have to see the abuser all the time, and nobody ever done anything because for some reason in African American households they just like to sweep stuff under the rug. What goes on in this house stays in this house. That's some bull. I'm sorry, that is bull. But it happens all the time, and as I've grown up and I notice dynamics in my own family, I'm just like, yeah, see, this is why I'm the black sheep of the family, and I don't go around like that, and I don't do a lot of family functions and stuff like that because I have 5 kids, and it's hard for me to try to keep my eye on everybody, so we just don't go. I don't run a risk something happening to my kids. Anyway, that ain't what this is about. But the whole sleepover thing, that plays into it because you don't know what's going on at this person's house. You don't know what they deal with, what they're into. Like, anybody could come to the house. You don't know who's coming in and out of the house. Like, there's so many factors. And I feel like if we just be a little bit more intuitive and use our discernment when we're talking to our kids about why they can't do something, I think they will respect it a little bit more. So I've talked to my kids about this. I've explained things to them. And there's probably like maybe 1 or 2 people that I will let them go with. And I'm still very, very cautious. And it's only the kids that I know who will speak up and advocate for themselves. Some other ones, they ain't going nowhere. You just not going nowhere because you haven't found your voice yet. Needless to say, you're the parent. You do whatever works for you and your kids, and I'm gonna do what works for me and my kids. And you can eat me up in the comments if you want, but I believe this. I stand on it, and I'm not gonna change. This me. So I hope that you join the comments over there. There was a lot of commentary on that video. Some positive, some negative, some just like absolutely not. We're not. So it was very relatable to see that there are other parents out there who think just like me, and they're just like, it's a no. Always gonna be a no. So anyway, this was a little short episode that I wanted to just talk about that a little bit more. We're not getting too much into depth about it because that is like a really triggering subject for some people, especially if you were mishandled or abused during a sleepover. So I get it. I'm sending love and light to you and healing to you. And I will see y'all in the next episode. Bye.